This is an attempt to imagine what my Uncle Harold's last B-17 mission would have seen a little bit. We're flying, that was in March 28th, 1943. We're doing this small flight in August 2014, 63 years later. We're on, you can see the outskirts of Rouen. He was heading for the marshalling yards and train yards in Rouen, and we'll see those in a moment in the distance. There's the Seine up ahead, and the train yards are just on the other side of the Seine. He would have come in a more northerly route, I believe, because we're flying direct from Paluel. Still, the landscape is about the same he would have seen. Wouldn't have been as lush because it would have been in March. But there are the train yards on the other side of the Seine now. And that is what he would have seen and flown directly over, but at a much higher altitude. My guess is they were also firing on the whole contingent of planes by now. That's where he would have dropped the bombs. That's a good view of the train yard there. Now we've crossed the Seine and we're looping back and going to be heading back toward the coast now. We're now in the countryside, heading toward the Atlantic before Paluel, and we don't know, but we can imagine this is where the fighters began their attack on the B-17. He must have been hit somewhere around here, and then close to the Palisades, the rear of the plane apparently burst into flame. The first parachutist out was on fire and hit the ground, didn't survive the fall. And then I believe it's 6 other parachutists fell, jumped out right over the German guns and stuff, and they really didn't have a chance. You can see the nuclear facility up in the north there. That's exactly where the plane went over. They jumped over, that's all filled with gun emplacements from the Germans, and that's where they fell. Bernard doesn't think any of them hit the ground alive. There would have been, I guess, 6 of them, not including the one that was on fire. And then we landed right next to the Lucky Strike camp site of the Allies after the war, and the huge airstrip that they'd built there that's no longer used. We landed on the grass, and you'll see our pilot in a moment, and we told him that this was a trip of a lifetime and how much we appreciate it, and he said, no, you're the ones that I need to thank for. If it weren't for you, I don't know where we'd be now. It was really a wonderful moment. Really thanking Uncle Harold. These are wonderful people. Here are some shots from the actual ceremony itself that was just so touching, with Bernard and Charles Lefebvre and Charles Vallon there, and and veterans of the Algerian War as well. I kissed each one on each cheek. Then we actually went to Bernard's home where he showed us where he saw the trajectory of the plane 70 years ago when he was 10 years old, and where each of the parachutists came down, and where the Germans came and quartered him and his dad at bayonet point. This was just remarkable. And then we said our goodbyes. While Harold's remains were moved to the American Cemetery in the Ardennes, Lieutenant John Cohen and John Butler were actually moved, the remains were moved to the American Cemetery at Omaha Beach, and we actually went and paid our respects. This was a trip of a lifetime, no doubt. And I really want to thank my cousin Dave, who really made it all possible.